If your baby looks like this, or this, or this, or this in a high chair, I'm sorry to tell you, but the high chair is simply too big for your baby. Now, you might be thinking, is that really important? Yes. When a baby is sitting in a high chair which is too big for them, they tire easily because they're using so much more energy to sit upright because they have no postural support. They also are less likely to touch and interact with food, which is extremely important when they're learning to eat, and that's simply because they're using their arms to either hold themselves in sitting by holding onto the tray of the high chair, or wedging their arms into the side, or hooking their arms around the side of the seat. They simply cannot see their food well because the tray is up too high. And the physical skill of eating is significantly more difficult because they're using all their energy just to sit upright. Now, I know you might be disappointed that you bought a high chair which is too big for your baby, but don't worry, in this video I'm going to show you how you can make some simple adjustments to the high chair by using items found around the house, which is going to ensure that your baby is nice and supported when they're sitting in this chair, which means that they're going to be more likely and happier to explore and eat food. But before we do, make sure you click on that free PDF document in the description box below, which covers the developmental milestones you can be expecting for your baby in their first year of life. This will give you an valuable peace of mind as you'll know what to be expecting and when to be concerned. Also, if you want to make parenting significantly easier, make sure you subscribe to my channel where you'll learn all the tips and tricks I've learned over the last 10 years, practicing as a pediatric occupational therapist and also being a mum to 2 children. And make sure you hit that bell so you won't miss a thing. Now, to set up your baby's high chair so that you know they have the postural support they need to sit upright, which in the long run means that they're going to be more willing to explore food and less likely to be a fussy eater, the very first step you need to do is check the overall seat height of the high chair. So, to adjust the overall seat height, what you need to do is firstly check your baby when they're in the seat. So you place them in the high chair and you check where their arms are positioned. As I said, generally high chairs are too big, so your baby's arms are most likely going to be up near their shoulders. That tells us the overall seat height of the high chair is too low, so we need to increase the overall height. Now, the first thing you want to do when you're looking at adjusting the overall seat height of the high chair is check if your high chair has the ability to adjust the height like it does in the Stokey Trip Trap chair. If it does, you simply change the level of the seat height. If it does not, then you would remove the cover, if it does have one, off the high chair, and then you would get a folded towel and place it where your baby would sit on the high chair. Now, you want to place as many folded towels required so that when your baby is sitting in the high chair and their arms are resting on the tray or the dining table, their elbows are at 90 degrees. Now, once you've done that, the second step to adjusting the high chair is ensuring your baby has some backrest support. When your baby's sitting in a high chair, we want them to be sitting upright or slightly off upright. We don't want them to be reclined at all because that makes it difficult for them to eat, and we don't want them to be pulling themselves by holding onto the tray, so they're pulling themselves forward in the chair. If they are doing any of these things, then you need to provide some back support. So again, how you do this is simply check first whether or not your high chair has the ability to make that adjustment or change that level of recline, which is often using a lever at the back of the backrest. If it doesn't have that ability, again, make sure that cover's removed from the high chair and you simply place, again, another folded up towel behind where their back would be when they're sitting in the high chair, and that just ensures it brings the backrest a bit further forward, so it will ensure your baby gets full contact with the backrest and more support. Now, the third step in adjusting the high chair is ensuring your baby has some trunk support. Now, high chairs, as we said, are generally way too big, so babies will often fall to the side because the high chair itself is too big and they don't have any side support, which makes it difficult for them to sit upright, because remember, sitting is a skill that they're learning to do at 6 months of age. So as they fall to the side, it makes it really, really difficult, if you can imagine, trying to reach out and grab some food, and also it makes it more difficult to swallow the food once it's in your mouth. So what you want to do is, with this one, make sure that cover of the high chair is removed, and you would use some tea towels and you would roll them up and then you would place it beside them at their side. What you want to do is ensure that the rolled up towels only kind of come to their ribs. You don't want it up to their armpit, because when you bring the rolled up towels to their armpit, it means that their arms are pushed out to the side, which means that when they're trying to interact with the food, it's quite difficult. So we want their arms to be down by their side, which means that the rolled up towel needs to end at the level of their elbow. So I would generally put the rolled up towels on both sides of the high chair to ensure that they've got equal support on both sides. If your baby tends to lean to one side more than the other, you might want to pull that towel up a bit or add in another towel to prop them up. So after you've done that third step in providing that lateral support or that trunk support, what you can do is put the cover of the high chair back on, and then this will ensure that the towels remain in place. If you don't have a cover, what you might want to think about is putting the rolled up towels in something that you can wash, so like a pillowcase, or you might be happy just to wash the towels as needed and replace them with other towels. But if it does have a cover, putting the cover back on means that those towels will stay in place and they will stay clean. And the fourth step of adjusting the high chair is ensuring your baby actually has some foot support. Now, often high chairs claim that they have semi-adjustable footrests, or they have footrests on the high chair. If you put your baby in it and you notice that their legs are not making any contact with the footrest, then we need to provide them with a footrest, a temporary footrest, and that's simply because they're learning to sit, and to sit upright they need to have that footrest support so that they can get more postural stability. If you imagine I was making you sit on a bar stool and not giving you any support at all, you're going to find that really, really difficult, and you're going to start tiring really quickly. Your stomach muscles are going to get very, very sore, and you probably want to get out of the chair. What is happening is the same thing for our babies. They're sitting in this high chair, they've got no support at all. Sitting itself is extremely tiring. And so they're going to start crying and whinging, and meal times are just not going to be enjoyable. So having footrest support is definitely a must. Now, how you achieve that in your high chair at home is that you might be able to adjust that footrest like you can in the Stokey Trip Trap chair. Otherwise, you could use some temporary items which you could find around a home. I've used some pool noodles in the past. I've got some high density foam and placed it there. I've also used a nappy dispenser box or a shoe box. What you want to do is, when you're using these temporary supports, is that you want to make sure that when you babies resting their feet on it, their knees are at 90 degrees and their hips are at 90 degrees, as well as their ankle, and that ensures that it's at the right height. Once you've found the right height, I would just tape it on with tape to ensure it doesn't move, and then as they grow you'll just need to lower it. And the fifth step in adjusting the high chair is to make sure that if it does have a harness, which is always recommended in high chairs, that it is set at the right height. So what you want is that the harness is level with the shoulders, or very, very slightly above or very slightly below, depending on where the slit is for the harness. You do not want the harness so it's way above, so it's in a slit that's very, very high. That's simply because it can cause a bit of tension around the neck and kind of rub and cause some shearing or some sores to develop because of the harness rubbing against the baby's neck. Also, it's not that safe. So if you can ensure that the harness is at level with their shoulder, that's amazing. So that's how you adjust the high chair to ensure that your baby is going to be nice and supported in the high chair, and they're going to be able to see the food, smell the food, and interact with the food, because they're going to be so supported, they're going to be at the right height, and they're going to be happy to stay in the high chair for a longer period of time because they're not using so much energy to sit in a chair that's simply too big for them. Make sure you click on the free PDF document in the description box below, and hopefully I'll see you next week where I'll share more parenting tips and tricks.